We're here with Haitham Al-Rais, Manager for Market Research at International Marketing at Kuwait Petroleum Corporation. Haitham, thank you very much for being with us today. We had an in-depth discussion yesterday with OPEC and non-OPEC officials. We had the Secretary General of OPEC and the head of the IEA. Haitham, what were your main takeaways from the discussion on the state of oil markets?
Well, first of all, thank you for interviewing me and allowing me to have this chance. I think it was a very interesting session yesterday morning where His Excellency the Secretary General and Dr. Birol from the IEA almost seemed like they were on the same page on most points, which was quite unusual. Usually you have OPEC and the IEA having conflicting or different views about the way the market's behaving, the way oil prices are affected, the way supply and demand are projected to the market. And it seemed they were very much in line with their projections, and it almost seemed like there was one person at the table. So that was a very striking and interesting observation. I think this is a good sign because it shows that there's definitely more clearer and more transparent exchange of information and data between all member countries in all these organizations, and this is absolutely necessary for people to be able to understand the market better going forward. It's a clear sign that there's cooperation between consumers and producers. End of the day, it's all one world, and we have to all cooperate to be able to preserve sustainable and reasonable commodity prices, whether it's oil or whatever. And this is in the interest of everybody in the world.
From a Kuwaiti perspective, as a major oil producer, are you concerned about sustained weakening demand given the trends we're seeing, in particular in Asia?
Well, let me put it this way. To start with, this is not the first time that we've witnessed such a cycle, if I can use the term. I think we are in a cycle. We've seen this before when Asia collapsed in 1997-98, the Asian economic crisis. You had a huge drop in demand, and even before then. So I don't think what we're seeing now is as significant as what happened in the late 90s. So we are concerned, but not too concerned. I think this is there's a clear supply-driven issue now in the market rather than a demand-driven issue. Although there are signs of places, major areas, consumption areas such as China, where demand and economic growth have slowed down significantly. China's GDP forecasts have definitely been taken down from double digits to around 6-7% projections for next year. The IMF yesterday issued their statement saying that world growth is projected to be lower at around 3%. So there is a slowdown in demand, but other places in the world such as the US, Europe, I think are showing more positive growth. Other areas in Asia such as India are showing signs of growth, developing rapidly, faster compared to previous years. So we're not too concerned about demand slowing down. I think the main concern now that's really overshadowing the sentiment in the market is the huge oversupply.
In this market environment, how is Kuwait positioning itself?
That's a very good question. I mean, in KPC, in Kuwait, we've always taken the view to be a long-term player in the market, not an opportunistic player. So we have always planned, and always our strategy has been to be a long-term, sustainable, reliable supplier of oil and gas to the world. KPC's plans are not affected by the lower oil prices whatsoever. In fact, we are spending exactly as planned in our 2030 strategy. Our plans are to increase our crude oil production to reach 4 million barrels a day by 2020. All these projects are already underway with our upstream company KOC in Kuwait to boost production. On the downstream side as well, in KPC in Kuwait, we are modernizing our refineries, the 3 refineries we have, and there are plans to build a 4th refinery in Kuwait. So all of these plans are well underway despite the current low price environment.
Just a last question, Haitham. What's your impression of the Oil and Money event, and what's your main takeaway, you would say?
Well, I mean, I've attended the Oil and Money several times before in the past. I haven't attended, the last time I was here was maybe 5-6 years ago. So it's always a very interesting venue where you can meet very high-level executives, ministers, where you can actually sit and hear the decision makers, the top brass, as they say, make these decisions and explain to the rest of us how they view the market and the industry. I think this is very important for us to be able, through such a venue as Oil and Money, to meet these top people. And that's one of the things that you probably don't find in other conferences or events in the industry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Haitham Ghais with
Thank you.
Kuwait Petroleum Corp.